Hello. I thought it would be advantageous for all of us to do a walkthrough tutorial of our new Catholic Church before its dedication on April 23rd. As you know, it's been almost 2 years in construction. Construction began in March of 2021. The church is 16,000 square feet. The overall project on both levels is 32,000 square feet, the lower level being an academic build-out. As you see the words on the face of the front porch, Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, reminds us that this is all about the Lord. Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, for the greater honor and glory of God. Let's now take a look at the inside. There are 3 sets of double doors as you come into the main entrance underneath the front porch. And the doors are not keyed entrances. They have to be unlocked remotely, and we will try to follow a strict schedule for Mass confession times. And it is my hope that we can keep the doors open as long as possible throughout the day so all parishioners can come make a visit to the Blessed Sacrament if they wish, and any visitors might be able to take a look at our beautiful new church. Let's now take a look inside. As you come into the inside, the very first part of the entrance is a foyer that then has a second set of double doors, largely for heating and cooling in addition to security. To my left, your right, is where the large statue of St. Michael the Archangel is going to be located, and that'll be after the dedication when we get a suitable base built, and then we bring the statue over to the church. We now come into what is called the narthex, or the gathering area for our church and most Catholic churches in the world. It is a very sizable room in which the baptismal font is located. The baptismal font is part of the liturgical furniture that includes the altar of sacrifice, the ambo, from which the readers read from, and the tabernacle. The liturgical furniture is made of Carrara marble from Italy, and is going to be very suitable for the celebration of the sacraments. The narthex is also going to be used for overflow, for masses of large attendance, and for other purposes. I would like to see it used for the time after Mass in which visitors can stand, get to know each other, and visit. To our left is one of the 3 main meeting rooms. Since the parish is named and is under the patronage of St. Michael the Archangel, one of 3 known archangels listed in the scriptures, we decided to name the auxiliary rooms after the 3 archangels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. As we come into the St. Michael room, it's going to be a multi-purpose room. Each of the rooms has a whiteboard and also a 64-inch diagonal flat screen that will provide video and audio for any activity in the church. That if this room is used for overflow for a Mass or other special event, that those who would be seated in this room would be able to watch the Mass and other activities in real time. The casework was built by one of our parishioners, Lauren Stera, and then the tables and the chairs are of such nature that we can rearrange them quite easily for whatever configuration that the group that is meeting would want to use. The other room then opposite this room on the right side or the west side of the narthex is the St. Gabriel room. Now, as you would well expect, not everything is in the finished state. We've got chairs piled in here in anticipation for Sunday. This room is a little bit more, if I can use the word, homey. It has a fall fireplace, and it has leather furniture that provides a little bit more of a homey setting. So this, again, is a multi-purpose room. Let's go back to the narthex. And to the left of the narthex on the east side is a information desk. And I am thinking that this could be used for providing information and different literature for visitors and parishioners. And if anybody would have a fundraiser, everything would be seemingly built in, that people could put out whatever they might wish to hand out, or maybe it could be used for a multiplicity of things. As we go back to the front of the narthex, as we just came in, there's a small indentation in the wall, and this is going to be the cornerstone of our church. That was blessed by Pope Francis. Father Drew Schwinke, who was our assistant pastor for 2 years, took that in June of 2022 and had that blessed by Pope Francis, and then we're going to put some of the other things that were associated with the blessing all around it. All right, as we then come to the front of the narthex, you'll notice that on the bulkheads is the signage. Sacristy, which is immediately to the left of this hallway. That's where we will get ready for Sunday Mass. The Adoration Chapel, which will be directly ahead and to our right, and then the elevator, which is immediately to the right. We're walking into the sacristy right now, and again, this casework was built by one of our parishioners, Lauren Stera, and this will be where our sound system is and everything that we need to get ready for Mass. Will be where the acolytes will get ready and the altar boys will get ready as well. Immediately on the opposite side of the hall is going to be the elevator, and the elevator covers all 3 floors, and that will take us down to the junior high academic classrooms, and that will all be only by secured entry so that not everybody can get down there. And then it will be on ground level, and then also anyone who needs the elevator can take it up to the choir loft as well. We're now facing east, and we're going to walk momentarily outside underneath the covered drop-off. And the covered drop-off was envisioned and was constructed for the purpose of having access during all kinds of weather events. For example, if one had a wedding or even a funeral, and it might be raining or snowing or whatever, that cars would be able to get underneath the covered drop-off, and that protection from the elements would be provided as people would make a very short entrance into the church. I also see it as an opportunity for those who want to make a holy hour, that if they come, let's say 2 o'clock in the morning and it's 20 degrees below zero and it's snowing, and that they want to have a means by which they can get right close to the church and also have a secured entrance, that they can park here, get right into the church, and then have things provided. One of the things too is there's going to be a lot of trial and error in the getting used to the building and how we're going to use it. I'm envisioning that people who might have mobility issues, who need to get as close to the building as possible, you can park here. For example, left wheels to curb, even though it's not designated handicap accessible. Obviously, this is private property, it's ours, and we essentially do what we want. So I'm thinking of our elderly parishioners and those who might have mobility needs. I want you to use this to your greatest advantage. Let's go back inside now. Okay, as you come right inside the east side of the church, we come down a designated hallway. There's a bathroom here, and then this is going to be the inside of the confessional of main usage. Okay, this is where the priest is going to sit. Very spacious, and it's equally spacious on the other side for the penitent, the one going to confession. We designed it in such a way that one of our guiding principles is that we want to be accessible to all. So anybody, again, who might have mobility issues with a walker, a wheelchair, motorized wheelchair, would be able, if they have a degree of independence yet, can come in, go to confession. Let's say if they're in a motorized wheelchair, go to confession, make a 360, and get out under their own power. Okay. We're now going into the Adoration Chapel, the dedicated room for the worship of the Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. This is very much a work in progress. This altar was bought. It's a side altar from a closed Catholic church in Jefferson County. Fairbury is the county seat. was completely redone. We're building a structure, an edifice right inside of that will then house the oversized host and the monstrance. And then we're going to have probably about 3 pews, and there's going to be some finished woodwork in here, and that likely will be done after the dedication. And what I'm envisioning, and I'll get a communication out to you, is that Eucharistic adoration will continue for the time being, even after the dedication, in the day chapel as it is, until we get this completed. Okay, we're now going back into the main body of the church. And we're going down the main hallway to the west. And again, you see on the bulkhead the signage for the third meeting room, St. Raphael room, and then the public restrooms. To my right are mechanicals. The entire building is heated and cooled by geothermal, a very cost-effective means of heating and cooling a building. Everything so far, according to billings, have been right on projections. To our right is a kitchenette, and the kitchenette has a refrigerator with a microwave, a refrigerator with an ice maker, a microwave, a dishwasher, and we thought that we would have a central location for food preparation. And because one of the things that we very much want to promote in these 3 rooms is hospitality, that when any individual, any family, any group wants to meet, that they would have the opportunity to get something to eat and drink. Okay, we're going out and we're going to take a look at the public bathrooms then, men and women, very adequate number of sinks and stalls. The door ahead of us is where the 2 buildings meet, the one that was completed in 2011 and the current building. The St. Raphael room is a multi-purpose room, and again, flat screen television. This is also going to serve as a bridal room, and we put the bridal room where the girls can get ready for a wedding. There's casework if they want to leave their dresses overnight after rehearsal. The bathrooms are right across the hall, plenty of sinks, plenty of mirrors that they can get ready. I'd also envision this as a multi-purpose room to be used by our parishioners. For example, if, let's say someone's celebrating a wedding anniversary and they have family here and they want to renew their vows after Mass, during Mass, that after Mass, if they want to have a meal right here, that they would be able to do so. I also envision this with the double doors, that let's say if there's a funeral and the family wants to say their goodbyes privately, out of the guise of many other people, that they would be able perhaps even to bring a casket in here, close the doors, say goodbye, and then be able to start the funeral mass. Okay, we're returning now to the narthex, and the wall to the main body of the church, called the nave, is open with 9-foot doors, and then 2 sets of 7-foot doors on the right and the left. The voices that you hear in the background are the student choir practicing for the dedication and for other masses. The organ is a Rogers electronic digital organ, 367 Infinity, and it has to the untrained ear, you can hardly tell the difference between a pipe organ, incredibly cost effective. The organists who have played it have said that it just has incredible power. One more thing to the right, you'll see that there is a indentation in the wall, a niche, that has what's called an ambry, A-M-B-R-Y, and this has flasks of oils that are used in the Catholic sacraments from top to bottom, the oil of the infirmed used in the sacrament of the sick, and then the oil of catechumens used only in baptism, and then the bottom one, sacred chrism, that sacramentally is used in baptism, confirmation, and holy orders. And then the bishop also on the day of dedication will use that oil of chrism to literally anoint the surface, the mensa of the altar, as a sign that it's consecrated to the worship of God. And then he will also anoint anointing stones. There's 12 of them on the walls for indication that this building is dedicated to the worship of God. Okay, let's take a look at the main body of the church. As I've communicated, our pews are going to be about 90 days delayed for a variety of reasons. In the meantime, we've put chairs down, and there's 630 chairs set up currently, and it works. It certainly works well. Okay, we'll go down the main aisle now. Okay. Probably the dominant element of the church is the mural of the Communion of Saints taken from the book of Revelation. And what we're trying to portray in that is the intersection of the heavenly and earthly liturgy described in the book of Revelation, largely right above the sanctuary, where the celebration of the sacrifice of the Mass will be reflected by the reality and the belief that during that action that we're surrounded by the angels and the saints. The half circles on the walls of the church are the Stations of the Cross that are to be created and to be painted in the very short-term future. Again, as we come to the front of the church, you see the altar of sacrifice, the tabernacle behind it, the ambo to the left, and then you'll see the statue of Mary to the left, the statue of St. Joseph to the right. The area right behind the sanctuary, which is called an apse, A-P-S-E, in church architecture, is going to be a mural of Jesus on the cross at Calvary. And that's going to be the next artwork that will be commissioned and executed in probably the next year. The artwork on the vertical sides of the walls was painted by Conrad Schmidt, a church painting company from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then you see the coffered ceilings that were stenciled by Conrad Schmidt as well from Milwaukee. You'll also see that there are 4 additional confessionals, 2 on the west and then 2 on the right. And that is trying to encourage and promote students in our school and in our CCD program to make a confession on a monthly basis, that we built additional confessionals while we were in construction. Behind the sanctuary is a ADA handicap accessible ramp that will allow people with mobility issues to access the sanctuary, to be an acolyte, to read, and for other purposes. And then immediately behind the sanctuary is a second sacristy, and this is going to be somewhat of a working sacristy for daily masses, that we can get everything ready, and then the altar is within proximity, and then we can begin Mass from this location. The sanctuary or the tabernacle is yet to be completed with the tabernacle door that we have then, that we're finishing up sizing that. And then at the altar is a repository for 8 relics, first-class relics of saints. And that will be a part of the dedication Mass of the enclosure of that repository for the relics. Okay, let's take a look now at some of the auxiliary rooms that have somewhat specialized use. The first one is immediately ahead of us. That's the cry room. And again, it does have a 64-inch diagonal flat screen for those parents who might have a child who might need a timeout or need a break or whatever. And so it has visibility immediately to the altar. Okay, now we're on the west side of the new church, and there's a hallway. Access to the cry room will be of one of 2 ways. It will be through the door off of the sanctuary, And for now, we have chairs set up. There's probably approximately 20. And again, the flat screen, there's a counter here if somebody needs to be changed or might have some special needs. But then we have, again, it's sound controlled, and yet you'll be able to watch and hear everything in real time. Okay, let's go back out. Right, there's two things. Now we're right off the west side of the main nave of the church. This is a mother's room, nursing mothers. And we'll have chairs in here when we get everything finished up for nursing mothers. And there's a countertop, there's a sink that, whatever personal needs that you have with a little one, that a mother would be able to come in and take care of that. On the other side, we have a family restroom that is handicap accessible. And what we did here was we created a restroom that, let's say if somebody has mobility or even cognitive issues that they struggle for not getting clothes on and off or what have you, that and if they have a degree of independence yet, that they could come in here, let's say with a motorized wheelchair, extra grab bars in order for them to securely take care of their personal needs. There is a child's changing table in here, and there's also an adult changing table. And so if anybody would have a need like that, and or if a caregiver is with an adult who has special needs, that they would be able to help him. And again, hopefully large enough where a motorized wheelchair would be able to access this room and be able to get in and out with a degree of freedom, trying to fulfill one of the principles of being accessible to all. Okay, let's go back out now to our main hallway. And we're now facing east. We're going to go up to the choir loft, and that's accessible right off of the narthex. The choir loft has a commanding view of the main body of the church. And right now, some of the students are practicing for the dedication mass and for other masses. And we're going to take a look here. We're going to come to the middle of the choir loft and give you a bird's eye view of the church. Again, pretty stunning in terms of artwork, color, architectural design, and all of the elements that's going to make this an incredible church. Okay, I hope that you've enjoyed this walkthrough tutorial. Hopefully it's going to be helpful, especially those of you who haven't had an opportunity to take a look at the church prior to now. There's going to be a lot of, I think, trial and error as we get used to a new building, where everything's located, how do we use it, but I think it's going to be great. So anyway, I want to thank so many of you who have made this church possible. 18 years in the making. Many capital campaigns, a lot of meetings, a lot of visioning, planning, and things like that. So anyway, I'm just incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and hope to see many of you on Sunday.